Coming up, the U.S. dismisses Syrian claims that they have intercepted our missiles. Watch this frightening footage from an emergency landing during a Southwest Airlines flight. And could happy hour be taking years off your life expectancy? Stay tuned for that and your weather forecast tonight on PNN 5 at 5.
From the School of Communication Studio at East Carolina University, this is Pirate News Network.
Hi, I'm Cooper Kinsey, and welcome to PNN 5 at 5. The U.S. is dismissing claims by the Syrian government that Syrian air defenses intercepted and shot down missiles that targeted a military base in Homs. Syrian state television aired video that purportedly showed the incident. CNN has not independently confirmed its authenticity. Two U.S. officials tell CNN there have been no coalition strikes on the airbase. Meantime, Russia is now saying that international chemical weapons inspectors will finally have access to the site of this month's suspected chemical weapons attack on Wednesday. CNN's Fred Pleitgen has more.
A number of developments in Syria in the past 24 hours. First of all, the Syrian government and its government state TV is saying that apparently missiles were launched at two of their air bases, one near Homs called the Shayrat Air Base and then one near Damascus called the Dumair Air Base. The Syrians say that all of the missiles that were fired, they say 8 in total, were shot down by Syrian air defenses. However, the United States says neither it nor any of its coalition members fired anything towards Syria, and the Israelis say they didn't even know about what was happening there. They had no idea that any of this was going on, and they hadn't seen the reports either. Meanwhile, on the ground, the wrangling continues about when the specialists for the Organization of the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons will be able to get on site in Douma where that alleged chemical weapons attack took place. That, of course, triggered that response by the U.S., Britain, and France. Right now, Russia is saying that it's going to be Wednesday when that's going to be possible. They are being accused by the United States of possibly tampering with some of the evidence on the ground and therefore causing that delay. The Russians say that's absolutely not true. They say the big problem was permissions that apparently the OPCW hadn't had from the United Nations, and generally coordination that is necessary between the OPCW, the United Nations, and of course also the Syrian government, because all of the movements by these inspectors have to also happen in coordination with the Syrian government. Of course, the United States says that with every day, every minute that passes, the threat of some of the evidence that is down there on the ground being tampered with becomes greater. Fred Pleitgen, Beirut, Lebanon.
A Southwest Airlines flight made an emergency landing at Philadelphia International Airport on Monday after its engine blew. A passenger on the plane says shrapnel hit the window, injuring another passenger. No word on the extent of their injuries. The plane landed safely and taxied to a remote area of the runway where passengers deplaned. Southwest Airlines says there were 143 passengers and 5 crew members on board. The flight took off from New York's LaGuardia Airport and was headed for Dallas. The airport says expect delays. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor is working with a broken shoulder. A court spokesperson says a doctor confirmed Monday that Sotomayor had broken her right shoulder in a fall at her home earlier that morning. According to the spokesperson, the justice will continue with her schedule, wearing a sling for several weeks and going to physical therapy. Despite her injury, she joined the High Court Tuesday to hear arguments on an internet sales tax case. Here's a look at our extended forecast. Temperatures will get up to 78 today as it is beginning to feel more like spring. A new study is putting a damper on happy hour plans. Melissa Rainey explains in today's Health Minute.
An international team of researchers found having just one alcoholic drink a day might be enough to shorten your life expectancy. The current recommended drinking limit in the U.S. amounts to roughly 1 a day for women and twice that much for men. According to the study, 100 grams of pure alcohol a week, which is the amount found in about 7 typical drinks, was linked to a 6-month shorter lifespan for a typical 40-year-old. 200 to 350 grams per week were associated with lifespans that were 1 to 2 years shorter. Any more and you were looking at potentially 4 to 5 years off your life. People who drank more also have a higher risk of stroke, heart failure, and fatal hypertensive disease. However, they do have a lower risk of heart attack. Researchers suggest the impact alcohol has on blood pressure may explain the link with cardiac diseases. For today's Health Minute, I'm Melissa Rainey.
For the first time in more than 30 years, an American woman has won the Boston Marathon. Desi Linden, a two-time Olympian, finished with an unofficial time of 2 hours, 39 minutes, 54 seconds in some pretty nasty weather. The 34-year-old took the lead from Kenya's Gladys Chizir just before mile 22 and never looked back. But Linden did show some incredible sportsmanship when miles before she was about to make history, she slowed up and waited on her friend, Shalane Flanagan, after she darted into a porta potty. And that's PNN 5 at 5. I'm Cooper Kinsey. Thanks for watching.